guys, welcome to Zibakeriz, where I show you how to create beautiful decorated cakes and cupcakes. So I'm gonna get started right away. So over here I have some chocolate cupcakes, and I also have some of my buttercream already in my piping bags, as well as some additional piping tips I'm going to be using. So over here I have chocolate cupcakes, and I've already cut off the domes, and I'm using these really pretty cupcake liners that I found at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to link something similar from Amazon because sometimes it is difficult to share the exact same ones that I get from the store. And I got this really nice vibrant red color for my buttercream using some gel-based food coloring by Chef Master. So I do want to recommend that you try to use a gel-based food coloring, because that is what's going to give you a more higher concentrated color. So this is the color that I use, the super red gel food coloring by Chef Master. You want to start off by adding a little bit and then gradually building the color. I don't show you how to make the color in this specific video just because I have showed it in the past. So I'm just going to leave a link to a video that I actually show you how to create this nice vibrant red gel based food coloring in that video. So I've already placed all of my buttercreams in the piping bags along with the piping tips, and as well as the different types of additional piping tips that I'm going to be using. So in the first piping bag, I've added a Wilton tip number 1M, which is an open star tip. You can use this to create beautiful rosettes as well as drop flowers. So I'm going to show you the different types of variations you can use to create beautiful decorations on your cupcakes. So to my second piping bag, I've added a coupler, and this coupler is actually really important when it comes to being able to play around with the different types of smaller piping tips. So those are the different piping tips I'm going to be adding to this coupler later on. But at the moment, I do have the Wilton tip number 104 on this piping bag, and that is a rose petal tip. However, I didn't end up using this specific tip for any of my cupcakes, so it's okay if you don't have this tip. You don't need it for this video. But it is a great tip to create any floral designs, and I have shown different types of designs using this tips in my previous videos. And then in my last piping bag, I've added a Wilton tip number 366, and that is a leaf tip. It's kind of the shape of a beak, and the way that you add pressure is the way that you're going to have a different leaf design. So these are the additional piping tips that I'm going to show you now. I'm showing you the first piping tip is the Wilton tip number 21, which is also a small open star tip. The second piping tip is the Wilton tip number 81. Basically, it has the shape of a U, and this is going to help us create a beautiful chrysanthemum, as well as a Wilton tip number 3, which is basically a round tip, and another round tip, which is the Wilton tip number 2, and this is basically just a smaller version of the tip number 3. So these were the additional piping tips that I'm going to use, and now I'm going to get to decorating all of these beautiful cupcakes using these piping tips. So the very first cupcake that I'm going to show you how to decorate is super simple and easy, and it's going to be using the tip number 1M, which is the open star rosette tip. So what you want to do is you want to start off by adding some pressure in the center of the cupcake, and then you want to go counterclockwise, and once you reach the end of the cupcake, you kind of want to release. So start by adding pressure to the center, slowly go counterclockwise, going all the way to the edge of the cupcake, and near the end you want to release upwards. And you're going to end up with this very beautiful rosette design. This is a super simple and easy cupcake design. And if you do have some buttercream on your cupcake, you want to make sure to clean that up before creating your next cupcake design. So now we're going to create those same rosettes but 3 mini versions, and that's called a triple rosette cupcake. So kind of on an angle, you want to hold your cupcake piping tip, then go counterclockwise and then release. Then you want to move the cupcake a little bit over, doing that same thing, halfway overlapping on the previous rosette, and then where the gap is, you want to create your third rosette. Following that same motion of adding pressure in the center, going counterclockwise and release. So now that we've created this beautiful triple rosette bouquet cupcake, so now I'm going to fill in the gaps with some leaves. So this is the Wilton tip number 366 with that leaf tip. So you want to make sure that you're holding your leaf tip kind of facing like a beak, and then we're just going to kind of create this back and forth motion to kind of create that beautiful leaf design. So just rotate it in the gap, again create that back and forth motion, and then you kind of want to release, and then in one specific corner I'm just going to create 2. So same motion, kind of creating a bigger one and then a smaller version, and you have this beautiful full rosette bouquet cupcake. Now that we've created two beautiful rosette cupcakes, now I'm going to create a cupcake design using another piping tip. So I didn't want to go with the Wilton tip number 104 yet, so I decided to create another cupcake design with the Wilton tip number 21, which was the open star tip. So as I mentioned, how crucial it is to have this coupler on your piping bag, just because you can switch out on different types of piping tips and create multiple different unique designs. So what I'm going to do for this specific cupcake design is create a shell border going all the way around the cupcake and then creating the word love in the center. So when you are creating a shell border, what you want to do is you want to add pressure, kind of holding the piping tip on an angle, and then you want to pull down. So what you do is add pressure, kind of lifting up and then pull down while you slowly turn your cupcake. So add pressure, pull down, add some pressure, pull down, and you're going to just follow the edge of your cupcake liner. So it actually creates this very beautiful, elegant kind of border all around the cupcake, kind of looking like a mini cake design. So you can see once you get to the edge, you kind of just want to make it look a little bit more seamless, because you don't know where you're going to end up. But you come up with this very beautiful border design all the way around your cupcake, following that same motion all the way around. So now that we've created this beautiful shell border all the way around the cupcake, now I'm going to spell out the word love in the center. So again, we're going to take off the coupler, and then we're going to switch that out for the Wilton tip number 2, which was the small round tip, which is perfect for writing any specific customized messages. So because these are Valentine themed cupcakes, so I'm going to write the word love in the center. You can, however, customize it to whatever specific word you want to go in the center. If you do find it a little bit difficult to write a message in the center, you can always kind of place your cupcake in the fridge to get firm, and then using a toothpick kind of outline where you want to write and what you want to write. I'm just going to kind of freehand it, so I am going to zoom up so you can kind of see how I'm doing this. You want to make sure that you're holding one of your hands under the piping bag to kind of give you some more support and control with kind of creating your customized message. It just makes it easier when you are writing. So you can see the V and the E is kind of too close together, so you can always kind of go back and fix or make any corrections using a toothpick. But overall, I am pretty happy with the way I wrote the word love on my cupcake. So now we have your third beautiful cupcake design with the shell border and the cute message going in the center of the cupcake. So now for my fourth cupcake design, I'm going to be creating cute little mini hearts all around the top of my cupcake. So again, I'm going to be using the same Wilton tip number 2 round tip to create these mini hearts on my cupcake. So you want to add pressure and then kind of pull down, and kind of just make that look more like a pop-up heart. And then you're going to create that same mini heart a little distant away from that first one. So you just want to keep kind of following that same motion. And I am so sorry, I didn't realize that my video was out of focus, but I was following that same method of kind of adding pressure and then pulling down on both sides, creating a cute little mini heart. So at this point, I did realize my video was out of focus, so I'm just going to show you close up. You want to add pressure on one side and then add pressure on the other side and create little a heart. And you want to kind of do this in a gap that kind of doesn't look that even. And then you can kind of go back and kind of fix any of the hearts you feel like you want to kind of fix. At this point, I do have a bunch of these mini cute little hearts kind of in different areas on top of the cupcake. So I am pretty happy with this cupcake design, and now I'm going to create my fifth cupcake design, and this is going to be a nice tic-tac-toe design. So this cupcake design is a little bit more fun and different, but it will allow you to kind of have more control with how you are holding your piping bag and your piping tip. So with one of your hands, you want to make sure that you're using that to apply pressure, and you want to use the other hand to kind of place that under your piping bag. That's what's going to give you a lot more control with more of these detailed designs and kind of having more of a consistent hand as well. So for the tic-tac-toe, I've created the lines, and now for the O's, I'm going to be creating little heart shapes instead. So I'm going with the 2 little mini hearts and then 1 X on one of the corners, and then doing the opposite on the second line, so creating 2 X's and then creating the last one, which is the heart. And then for the last row, I'm going to do a heart and then 2 axes. What you're actually learning from this specific cupcake design is practicing your control and creating more detailed designs. So just kind of play around with the pressure and having more control when you're holding underneath the piping bag. This is what's going to create these beautiful even hearts and X's on top of your cupcake. So if you find it a little bit difficult at first, you can start to practice it on parchment paper before you go ahead and do it on your cupcake design. And then now that we have the Wilton tip number 2, we're going to take that off and we're going to replace that with the Wilton tip number 81, which is basically this kind of a round U-shaped piping tip. This is what we're going to be using to create a beautiful floral chrysanthemum on top of our 6th cupcake design. So I have shown you how to create a chrysanthemum in many of my videos before, but I just wanted to show this one again just because you guys absolutely love this floral design that I create on my cupcakes. So what you want to do is you want to kind of slightly before the edge of the cupcake liner, you want to add pressure and pull up. The edge of your cupcake liner does kind of help you create that lift on the edge, but you want to make sure that you add pressure and then pull up as you keep turning your cupcake. So this isn't definitely a difficult flower to create, but it is a little bit more time consuming. But in the past, I've always gotten so many questions about, their buttercream actually getting very soft. So when you are creating flowers, I highly recommend adding a little bit of buttercream into your piping bag, especially if you're living in a warmer climate. And just in general, the warmth of your hand is going to soften up your buttercream a lot faster as well. So I do recommend adding a little bit of buttercream in your piping bag, and remaining buttercream should be in a bowl covered with plastic wrap in the fridge until you are going to use it, and then add it to your piping bag a little bit later, just so that your buttercream flowers are a little bit more stiff. Otherwise, if they are soft, they won't hold their shape and you won't get that very clear, distinct petal for each of your flowers. So you can see that as you get closer to the center of your flower, the angle is kind of going to lift upwards just because you're kind of overlapping on your previous petal, and that's going to help you create that beautiful floral chrysanthemum. Once you reach the center, you just kind of want to add a little bit more petals kind of straight, and you're going to end up with this very beautiful full buttercream floral chrysanthemum cupcake design. So at this point, I've also created my 6th cupcake design, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And now for the last cupcake design, I'm going to be creating a large 3D pop-up heart in the center of my cupcake. So I did forget to mention that I'm going to be using an additional piping tip. So again, you just want to take off the coupler, and I'm going to be adding a round tip on this. I didn't show it earlier, I just forgot to, so I'm going to be using the round tip number 12 by Wilton. If you don't have this Wilton round tip by Wilton, you can also just take your piping bag and just cut off the top and kind of have a round piping bag that's cut with a round tip. Or if you want, you can always use that Wilton tip number 104 that I showed you earlier to create a rose. But for this one, we're just going to create and add some pressure and then pull down on one side and then repeat that on the other side until you have this really nice 3D pop-up heart in the center of your cupcake. So it's not too complicated. It's a super simple and easy design. And of course, if you don't have that round tip, you can just cut off the tip of your piping bag and you're going to have a round tip, and you can create the same heart. So now that we've created all of our cupcake designs, I want to add a nice final touch to all of them to kind of make them a little bit more special and unique. So I'm going to be adding a nice little gold touch to each of these cupcakes, making each of them a little bit more special and unique. So to create that nice golden touch, we're going to need some food safe paintbrushes and a little plate, as well as some clear coconut extract. You can use any clear extract. I'm using coconut extract, as well as some gold luster dust. This is this super gold luster dust by the Sugar Art. So it's a nice bright gold. So you just want to add a generous amount, kind of using the other hand to tap out some of that powder onto the plate. And I did also want to mention that I did place my cupcakes in the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes in the meanwhile, just so that they are nice and firm to the touch, so we can go ahead and paint on them. So these are the different types of sizes of paintbrushes depending on how detailed or larger you want to actually paint. So I have some finer brushes just for more detailed painting, and a little bit more of the larger paintbrushes for more thicker and non-detailed design painting as well. So now you're just going to take your paintbrush and you're slowly going to mix together both the clear coconut extract as well as the gold luster dust. So you want to start off by mixing both of them a little bit and then gradually adding more of that coconut extract and the gold luster dust until you have this nice medium consistency. And it's going to be a nice paintable consistency that we're going to be able to use to be able to paint on top of our cupcakes. So the first one is my rosette cupcake, and this is my signature painted rosette cupcake design, where I paint just the edges of the rosette. So you want to just be patient with this process. It is kind of time consuming, but you just want to go ahead and take your time and gradually paint this. It's definitely not it's not a very difficult process. It's just kind of time consuming, but it is also very therapeutic as well. So I thought this is a perfect time, since you kind of know what I'm doing. I'm just painting the edges of my cupcakes. I thought I'd give you a little bit of a reasoning as to why I've posted after so long. I know I promised that I would be uploading more frequently, but I did get very busy with my work and kind of keeping up with my YouTube channel, so I am very sorry about that. But I am going to try my best to keep uploading as much video content and sharing as many tutorials as possible, since you guys give me so much love and support on all of my videos that I've posted. So I just want to say thank you so much for the continuous love and support that you guys do give to me on my channel, and also for the very kind messages that I receive on a continuous basis, just explaining how much you guys learn from my tutorials, as well as some of you guys who actually share the recreations that you have learned from my videos. It truly means a lot to me, so thank you. So moving back to the video, I'm just painting the word love. You can see that I didn't want to paint the edges around the cupcake, but I did want to paint just the word love, just so that that also stands out on the cupcake. So really happy with the way that turned out as well. And now moving on to the little mini hearts. So what you're going to do is you're going to paint each of the little hearts that we piped on the cupcake. So again, you just want to be kind of more patient with this. You want to take your time, just because you can kind of mess it up if you go outside the lines and it won't really look too much of a heart. So I am speeding up this process of the video as well, just because it's not difficult, just time consuming. So you just want to take your time with this process. And I decided to make all of these cupcakes for Valentine's theme. And I'm so sorry I posted this video a little late just because I was behind schedule, but you can create these cupcake designs to customize any specific event. You can also use this for like an anniversary, cute little anniversary cupcakes, or you can customize this design by doing like a Galentine's, or if you're having friends over, you can kind of play around with the colors of the buttercream and kind of go with like softer colors like white and light pink and gold, and just have like a nice little different version for these cupcakes. So you can kind of just play around with the design and kind of go based on that. They don't have to be for Valentine's, but these specific ones that I created were for Valentine's. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to upload it on time, but if you do want to make this for someone special, you can definitely go ahead and still create these beautiful cupcake designs as well, and learn a little bit of these techniques along the way. So now that I've painted the mini hearts on that cupcake, I'm going to move on to the next cupcake design, which is the tic-tac-toe. So I'm just going to paint the mini hearts as well as the X's. Again, it's the same process. We're just going to go ahead and paint the lines and the hearts as well as the X's for this cupcake design. Since there's not much that I am teaching in this part except for you guys painting your cupcakes, you just want to keep in mind that if at this point your buttercream is starting to get softer, then I would highly recommend placing your cupcakes back into the fridge for a few minutes just to get nice and firm, just so it doesn't actually affect your painting, because if the buttercream is too soft, it won't actually let you paint. So if you feel that is the case, then just place your cupcakes back into the fridge for a few minutes until they are nice and firm to the touch, and then you can go ahead and get back to painting your cupcakes again. Also, I do sometimes get asked the type of gold that I'm using. So this brand is by the Sugar Art, and I do get it by a local bake shop, but you can also get it directly from their website, the Sugar Art, as well. So I just show you the tic-tac-toe cupcake design. I was really happy with the way it turned out, and now I'm just going to go ahead and move on to my next cupcake design, which is the large pop-up heart. So for this one, you can use a slightly larger paintbrush just so that the process is a little bit more faster, but this one's definitely not difficult. It's just one large heart that you're going to paint gold. I just wanted it to be like more of a statement, and just for Valentine's, I felt like it was the perfect little cupcake design. So you might actually need to go over the heart a couple of times, because sometimes that red buttercream does kind of show through. So you do want to go over with a couple of coating of the gold until you are happy with the way that it turns out. So it looks really pretty, really happy with the way that heart turned out. Now I'm going to move on to the next cupcake design, which was our chrysanthemum. So for this one, I want to paint the edges of the petals with that nice gold. Not making it too complicated, just add a little bit more elegance to the cupcake. So once again, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize my cupcake video was out of focus. So I'm just going to show you a close-up now. So most of the edges have been painted now, but it wasn't anything too complicated. Just take your time and go ahead and paint the edges. And I am going to speed up the process of this video just because it does take some time when we are painting. It is a little bit more time consuming. But I feel like adding that little gold to the edges of the petals really made the flower come to life and look a lot more elegant. So really happy with the way this cupcake turned out as well. So nothing too complicated, but a very nice final touch to that buttercream floral cupcake design as well. And now going and moving on to the last cupcake design, and that is the triple rosette with the leaves. So this last cupcake design, it's going to be very similar to the first cupcake design that I showed you with the single rosette. So I'm going to be painting the triple rosette the same way, just want to paint the edges of the rosettes. Also, I find that this is the perfect time for me to just ask you guys what type of content you guys would like to see from me. So in the past, I have been creating a lot of these buttercream floral cupcake video tutorials, just because I know that that is something you guys really do enjoy watching on my channel. But if there is anything specific that you guys would like to learn from me, I would be more than happy to hear. Just comment that down below, and I would be more than happy to create that content for you guys. Also, just because I am coming back on my channel after so long, I do want to be able to create tutorials that are going to help you and just things that you guys want to see from me. So I would be more than happy to share that with you guys. So at this point, I am completely done painting the last buttercream rosette flower as well. So again, it wasn't too complicated, just painted the edges of the rosettes as well as the leaves. So at this point, I am done painting all of the little accent touches on all of these buttercream flowers, and I'm really happy with the way these cupcakes turned out. So I hope you guys found this video tutorial helpful, but if you want to make something a little bit more special and customizable, then definitely watch this next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video.